Lawrence in California was getting into the red pill versus the blue pill and the awakening of humanity. Go ahead and finish your point.
Yes, the point that I was trying to make, I had a question because I've been promoting this book since I started writing, and I've been giving out chapters to different people that I know, and they've been loving it. They've been telling me to get it done, especially my uncle, which is a vet. He's a Marines vet. And the thing is, I've been trying to get it to these publishing companies, and it's kind of like I'm being blackballed. It's like they're telling me no one cares about this situation. This is something that no one wants to look at or take their time out to read.
Well, number one, look, I mean, if it's a good book, that's a great title. Nothing is hotter than the awakening happening right now, and the system knows that. That's why they cover us constantly, just to try to stay relevant and in the game. The issue is the publishing industry is imploding. The economy is imploding. People don't read books like they did before. Hollywood's even losing money. The record industry is on the verge of collapsing. Mainstream news is even admitting that right now. So it's very tough. I had to self-publish my own book. And I didn't even reprint it. You know, I sold 15,000 copies. I printed 5,000, sold them right away. This was 9 years ago, and I thought, well, I'll just print 10,000. These sold so quick, but I didn't know that you sell everything up front. I was still ignorant then, and I learned more every day. And so it took me until just a few months ago to sell the additional 10,000. And so I'm not going back into reprinting of that book because I can't afford to print 5,000 or so and then wait 4 or 5 years to sell them. I can only make something new, hot, intriguing, and then try to fund myself right off the bat. And so that's the nature of it. And there's a glut of Patriot info because it is hot. The problem is a lot of it's not well written, or there's so much of it, and people don't have a distribution system to get their material out. But if I was you, I would go to some of the self-publishers out there, or some of the people on demand, where you can retain your copyright but have them print it and then go out and advertise your book. Create a website, write about your book, blog about your book, make YouTube videos about your book, hammer, 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 and the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I appreciate your call. Let me give you some advice. I started out on Access TV now almost 16 years ago, talk radio 15 years ago, and I was paid $200 a week at first, and then a year into it, I had a weekday show, and I was paid $400 a week. My radio show generated over $40,000 a month for the station. I didn't have a manager. I didn't have an agent. I didn't know anything. I was getting as high ratings as Howard Stern had on a local station. The local station was paying for that show, $300,000 a year. And the other hosts that were local had no ratings. I didn't know why they were all so jealous and literally hated me with a passion. Well, they weren't talk show hosts. Sharkman was his nickname. He was a real syndicated former CBS guy who'd been all over the country. He recognized me as a talent on Access. He got me my job in radio, and then they basically laid him off, and he went to Phoenix to do a show. I got to get a hold of Sharkman, find out what name he's going by now. I even forget his real name. It popped in my head in a minute. A real radio guy gave me my job. Okay, then he left, and these jealous nobodies. I mean, one guy had never even been in radio, and he was the program director, and I had these huge ratings, tons of money, and so they hated me even more. Then Jay Leno talked about me, and national news talked about me. BBC was there the day they fired me, and they said, get out of here, because the owners of the station were globalists, and they'd found out that I was on one of their stations.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are here live. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go live at prisonplanet.tv in the third and fourth hour today. We do have Lindsey Williams on part two of his oil spill expose in the final hour today. I'm continuing with your phone calls. Our first caller, and then I'm going to get to the others here in a moment, but I want to answer Lawrence's question from California. He was asking if he's written a book, how to get it published. And I was telling him that it's great to try to get a big publisher to do it up front, but generally it's best to self-publish something and just get it done, and then create a blog, a website, and promote your book, make videos about it, make podcasts, and if you've got the message, and if you've got the material, if you've got the talent, if you build it, they will come. And then I was briefly going back to my start in radio. It's a good thing I wasn't doing this to be successful and to be a big shot. I had no intention of that. Zero. I wanted to defend the Second Amendment. I wanted to defend property rights. I wanted to stop illegal wars. I didn't want America financing a global corporate empire. I wanted to abolish the private Federal Reserve. I understood these things. I understood that when I went to college, those colleges were anti-freedom, anti-America. And I knew that we were under threat as a society, and so I began to expose it. And I didn't understand why right away I got high ratings, and there were self-destructive people that ran the radio station, the good people had left, who'd hired me, and that they were mad that I was so successful. They were mad that I was all over the newspaper and that I was making national news, hard copy, extra, BBC, ABC Nightly News. They were angry. That's why they ended up losing their jobs later after they fired me. And the owners who owned a bunch of radio stations, Shamrock Communications, and who owned a bunch of radio stations and newspapers, you know, they came down and they told me, you quit talking about the New World Order, you talk about sex and partying and fun things, or you're fired. And I said, but I'm making you all this money, I have high ratings, and I said, I really can't. And they said, you will, you'll lose your job. And a few weeks later, they fired me. But I didn't care. It was all about the truth. What would be the point of being on talk radio and being able to talk to people and not talking about the truth? Not defending my family, my culture, my society. I cannot sell out. I will not sell out. That's why the globalists attack me constantly through their COINTELPRO from above and below, from the establishment and the fake anti-establishment as a sellout, because that's the only avenue they've got. I'm so real. I'm so bona fide. I'm such a real McCoy. The fruit of my labor is so real and so effective and so dangerous that they attack me from every quarter. And it's intensifying because I have the spirit of victory. I got a lot of problems and I'm not perfect. But people can model after what I've done, and they can build upon it and improve upon it. And I know we can beat these people because we're in the right, and if we just don't stop and we keep moving forward, the New World Order is going down big time. And so don't expect, so many people start little political organizations and they plan and they organize and they constantly talk about what they're going to do, and they constantly talk about how they're going to write a book, or they're going to have an Access TV show, or they're going to get a local radio show, or they're going to go to their state house, or they're going to organize a march, but they never do it. They have committee meetings after committee meetings. Just get on the street, get into the state houses, get into the city councils, run for office, get aggressive. Don't be apologetic. Be fiery. That's what the people want. They want red blood. They want oxygen-filled blood, not stale, blue blood garbage. You know what blue blood is, folks? The globalists have good names for themselves. Blue bloods. Blood that doesn't have oxygen in it is blue. That's why your veins are blue. But the blood we think of that we see on the ground, spilt in the fight for liberty, is red because it's spilt outside the body. It's been spilt. It's been released. And when that blood comes out of your lungs and is pounded through your heart and sent out to your body, it's red. It's animated. It's red blood. Are you red-blooded, or are you a cold, slimy, vampiric blue blood? Are you an undead? Is your soul dead, or does it have the animating fire of liberty in it? The enemy tells you lay down, be weak, be soft-spoken. This is the doctrine of losers. This is the doctrine of slaves. You need to become authoritative. You need to become assertive. You need to commit. All right, I'm going to stop preaching. The point is, Lawrence, don't wait for a silver platter. And you haven't done that. You've written the book. Take action. Take action now while you're still alive, while you're sucking air.